So thank you all of you for coming here today evening to participate in this Prerana festival. So despite so many problems, still you are here. Let's come in. Is it clear? Are you able to read? So the title which we gave for today's evening program is Material Problems and Spiritual Solutions. How many of you feel that there are problems in life? There are some who don't? No problems? No problems. And why are people wearing masks nowadays? Yes. Okay, why do you feel that there are problems? Those who raised hands. What are the different problems in life? Yes, please share. Why do you feel that there are problems in life? The universe is built with problems. Okay. Okay. The nature of the universe is problems. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Any other? Yes.
Work pressure.
Work pressure. That's a problem. Okay. Yes, behind. Thank you.
Sir, it's universal truth, sir.
It's universal truth that everybody has to go through problems. Very nice. Thank you. Yeah.
Sometimes competition with peers.
Competition with peers, and we are not able to cope up with that.
College job.
So college job. You are working?
Currently I'm searching for job. So I'm facing
You are searching for job. That is a problem. Okay. And you have got job? You are working. You are a student. Okay. Any other? What's your problem? Okay. What is the problem with the job? Right. So those who have no job, they want a job, and those who have a job, they say job is full of problems. Okay. Any other problems? Okay, I think there are sufficient. Okay. So now I'll ask you a question. Now, the problems which you mentioned, some of you mentioned, are not common to all. Right? Somebody is a student, for him studies is a problem. Somebody who is working, for him job may become a problem. But that's not a problem for students. So they are all relative. Based on where you are situated, you get those problems. Can you think of some problems which are common to all? Nobody can avoid it and nobody wants it. It should fulfill these three conditions. Nobody wants it, nobody can avoid it, and it is common to all. Okay, you told something? Death. Very good. What's your name? Anand is telling death. Is it common to all? Can anybody avoid it? No. Anybody wants it? Nobody wants it. So death is one problem. Is any other? Old age. Who said? Okay. Yes, old age is another problem. Your name is Deepak. So thank you. So I prefer new people who are coming. They can answer the questions. So old age. Anybody wants it? Can anybody avoid it? No, it's common to all. And people want to avoid it by putting hair dye. When hair becomes white, they want to put a dye. When they get wrinkles, they want to do some facelift. When they have all the 32 teeth are gone, they want to put some dents, right? Artificial dentals. Right? The old age. Yes, you had it.
Competition, sir, in their own profits.
Okay, competition is common to all, that's what you are telling, in their own work field. Okay. Like a cricketer has a competition, yes, that is a problem you are telling. Okay, so in every field there is a competition. Okay, we can take it. It's also one kind of problem which I'll tell about later. But here, can you think of some specific problem which you experience in your day-to-day life? Health. Health is a problem, right? Disease specifically, you can say. Right? Somebody wants disease, it comes, and nobody can avoid it. So that's the problem. So now three things are over. One is death, then old age, and then health or disease. And fourth one, I am telling from Bhagavad Gita. These four problems are mentioned. So out of which three already you have told. One more is there. Can somebody guess? All three things come because of one problem. Right. What is your name, sir? Pramod. Right. You are coming here for the first time?
For all the events.
All the events you come. Okay, thank you.
And for the
Celebrations. So, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, there are four real problems in this world. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Because of Janma only we get Mrityu, Jara means old age, and Vyadhi means diseases. So these four are the real problems. Other problems can be solved, but these four problems cannot be easily solved. So here we are giving the title Material Problem and Spiritual Solution. There are some problems which have material solutions. Like somebody is not having a job, he can get a job. And somebody has problem with the job, he can change a job, which people do nowadays. So they keep jumping from one job to another job very frequently, isn't it? So there are some material solutions, but for these four problems, there are no material solutions. Right? Now disease, we can cure one disease, but another disease will come, isn't it? So we invent a vaccination or a medicine for the particular disease, and then after some years again new disease will come which has no cure. Right? So such kind of problems are there. So disease is a problem which cannot be avoided like that. So, but here we will also try to see spiritual solutions to material problems. Like even you mentioned job, anxiety, stress, competition. These are also problems and we have to live with it. But is there a solution? And is there a solution from Bhagavad Gita and from spiritual books? That's what we are trying to discuss in this. And I am going to present you certain ideas, and you can also share your ideas. It's going to be like a discussion wherein we'll churn out some solutions for the current problems, which many of you already mentioned. So, in this discussion, we will see what is the problem, what is the gravity of the specific problem, what is the root cause of the problem, and root solution to the problem, and some material solutions to the problem. Okay. So this is the 5 points in which we will analyze and try to come to a solution. And this we will try to do for 7 categories of problems which I have taken here. This I have taken from one of our seniors who just gave an idea, and by going through his notes and his books, I have come up with this presentation. So, political problem, especially corruption, and then social and cultural problems in this world like sexual assaults, poverty, relationship problems, which are all social problems. Psychological problems like stress or depression, anxiety, phobias, they are all psychological problems. Ecological problems, which is also a topic of discussion at the global level nowadays. Climate change, global warming, pollution. Economic problems, like lack of self-sufficiency, industrialization, medical problems, diseases, epidemics, religious problems, communal violence, racial, social, cultural discriminations which happen. So these 7 broad categories are there. Of course, we will not be able to in detail discuss about all, but the first one we'll try to discuss the principles in detail, and the same principles and thought process can be applied for all others. And you take any problem in this world, you can apply this formula. It's like an equation. You put things and then the equation falls into place and you can solve the problems. Right? So, and every problem has got an immediate cause, has got a remote cause and the ultimate cause. Right? For example, if you get any disease, what is the immediate cause? What is the immediate cause of any disease? No, symptom is different than the cause. What is the cause of the disease? Bacteria or virus or any fungus or something, which is the immediate cause because it's entering the body. Now, why it entered the body? And only my body, why not others' body? Who is controlling where it should go and to whom it should go? Right? It's not in my control, it's in higher control. So that is remote cause. Right? So who is governing it? So that's what is a remote cause. And ultimate cause. So the cause of all causes. So that also we'll try to discuss. So we'll see that in this world some problem is caused by somebody, but the remote cause of the origin or the root is somewhere else. Right? Like you see a tree, on the tree you will see some leaves and fruits. But that is a symptom. But what is the root? The root is below. We cannot see the root. Right? Sometimes the tree's fruits are good because the roots are grounded nicely. They are getting nourishment. But sometimes the tree's fruits are not so tasty or good because the roots are not getting nourishment. Similarly, because of the root cause problems, similarly we see the symptoms of the problem. If you solve the problem at a root level, then you will see all the problems are gone. So spiritual solutions are the root cause solutions. They go and treat the root, not symptomatic. Symptomatic solution means what? Suppose you have got some boil, you put some ointment, that is symptomatic. But the problem is, once you put the ointment here, the boil will disappear and come here. Isn't it? So we are shifting problem from here to here, that's all. So it is not solving the actual problem. But a root cause analysis, if you go to a doctor, he will say blood is impure. There is some impurity in the blood because of which its boils are coming. Maybe there is too much heat in the body or acid in the body. So then he will give medicine for that and then the symptom is cured. So when you cure the root, then the symptom is also gone. Right? Just like if in the room it is smelling nastily, very bad smell is coming. Right? So what is the symptomatic solution? You may try to put a air purifier, spray something, or put some odonil or such kind of things. So that's symptomatic. But does it solve the problem? Once the effect of that spray is over, then again the problem comes up. Now what is the root cause solution for the smell? We have to search the room. Where is the dead rat? Because of which the smell is coming. You go, take that dead rat, throw it outside, clean the place with Dettol, and then it's clean. Smell is gone forever. So similarly in our life, in the world also, people try to patch up the problem by giving some symptomatic solutions. But they don't try to go to the root and solve the problem. So in this discussion, we will try to see the root cause analysis and try to find out a solution from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So are you ready? Okay. So let's start with the first one, which is political problems. And corruption is one thing. There may be many political problems. Just we'll take one and study that case study, it as a case study, and then we'll understand all other solutions easily. So first is corruption. What is corruption? Can anybody define? What is corruption?
Unethical act or deviation from the right.
You can give mic to him.
It is an unethical act or deviation from the right behavior.
Okay, deviation from the right. Can you be more specific with respect to corruption? We gave a generic definition. What is corruption in particular? Yes, it is unethical. It is a deviation from the right behavior. But can you make it more specific? Yeah, here he is telling something. Yeah. Swindling public money for personal use. Organizations' money for personal use. That is called corruption. Very specific. Thank you. What is your name? Basava Chetan. Okay. Thank you. So swindling organizations' money or public money for personal use. But I'll add one more word, without others coming to know about it. Right? Or under the table dealings. So that's called as corruption. Right? Uses one's power to accumulate more and give out less. I want more, but I'll give less to others. Right? Like some people may take more money but do less work. Right? Suppose somebody is supposed to make a bridge which is worth 100 crores, but he will charge 200 crores and build the bridge of 60 crores and put the remaining in the pocket. So that's called accumulating more and giving out less. That's corruption. Under the table dealings to make more money. Like this. Handshake above and below there is business dealing. Right? And it has become very common nowadays. So people want to cheat and make more money very quickly. Because they don't want to work hard. They want quick money, easy money. So that's what leads to corruption. So what is the gravity of this problem? When I say, okay, somebody is doing corruption, what is my loss? How am I getting affected by it? Yeah, please give the mic. Somebody said something here.
It may cause poor quality of
It may cause?
poor quality.
Okay, India may become
Poor quality.
poor quality.
I constructed a building, charged 200 crores, and 100 crores we have taken, and 100 crores we have deposited to construction. It may illegal materials were applied to the construction. It may collapse.
Poor quality, because of which it may collapse. And when it collapses, what happens? Many people die, na? I'll show you on video here. People are standing and watching. They're almost about to fall. People are running here and there. Some are watching very near, but very risky actually. So now it's so much leaning. Now they start running. See? So if somebody is not taking care of it, then poor quality buildings may collapse. Same thing happens with bridge also. Same thing happens with any construction. Right? So they might not have used good quality materials. So it's falling. The building appears new, but it's fallen. It's falling so fast. So this is the effect of corruption, and so many people may die because of it, isn't it? So there's a gravity of the problem. Right? Now, so much of black money is stored in the Swiss bank. It goes to 1,000 lakhs of crores of rupees. Right? If you search in internet, it will give the figure of 300 lakh crores. The black money in Swiss bank. If you get all the money back to India, this is what you can do. India's poverty can be completely wiped out. We can build 2.4 crore primary healthcare centers. Okay, 3 per village healthcare centers. We can build hospitals. We can build 24.1 lakh Kendriya Vidyalayas, schools, where you can give free education. We could construct 14 crore low-cost houses, so everybody will have a home. And we could set up many power plants, and we can build 14.6 lakh kilometers of two-lane highways. That's a road around India's periphery 97 times. So that much of money, black money, has been put there in the Swiss bank. So this is the gravity of the problem. So the figures just show that how much can be done if we avoid corruption, how much rich and prosperous the country could have been materially. At least materially, one will be prosperous if one avoids corruption. Now, what is the root cause of corruption? Selfishness. Very good. What is your name? Pavan. Pavan says it is selfishness. Okay. Greed. Yes, more specifically, greed. Right? Shortcuts. So selfishness, if you multiply it many times, it will become greed. Right? You want more and more and more at the cost of others. Right? Suppose there are some items. Suppose 10 kg of rice is there, in which about 100 people can eat. Or suppose one person comes and takes 5 kg rice. 99 people will get less. There will be shortage for them. So this is called as greed. In the nature, there is sufficient for everybody. Nature has provided sufficient. Mahatma Gandhi says that there is sufficient for everybody's need, but not for one man's greed. Nature can satisfy everybody's need, but not one man's greed. Because greed is unlimited. Greed is like fire. You put some oil in that, it burns. It keeps burning whatever you put in that. So that's called greed. So it's never ending, never satiating. It increases and increases. Right? You ask a Lakpati, what is your goal? He will say, I want to be Crorepati. And when he becomes Crorepati, you ask him, what is your goal? He will say, I want to become Arabpati. Then Karapati. So it's unending. It goes on and on and on. So that's called as greed. Right? But I will give another definition here. People become corrupt because they think matter is all that matters. Money is all that matters. Enjoyment is all that matters. I want to be happy. I want to possess more and more things. I want to possess more than others possess. So that's the mentality. Because he feels by possessing things, I'll become happy. He feels I have more, then I'm more secure. If I have more money in the bank balance, then I'm secure. If I have a good high paying job, then I'm secure. But then you will see others who are also earning equal amount, then you will say, no, I want to earn better than them. So that even if they get into problem, I will not be in problem. So this leads to greed. Because his consciousness is, he thinks that matter is all that matters. So this is the mentality. I want everything. This is called as greed. So this is very beautifully explained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, this mentality. Kindly repeat after me, if possible. Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashritaah kamopabhoga parama etavaditi nishchitaah आशा पाश शतैर्बद्धाः काम क्रोध परायणाः ईहन्ते काम भोगार्थम् अन्यायेनार्थ संचयान्. So in this is 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called as Daiva Asura Vibhava Yoga, divine and the demoniac people. So Krishna is describing qualities of divine people and demoniac people. And these two slokas tell one characteristic of demoniac people, Rakshasas, Asuras. Chintam aparimeyam cha. These materialistic people, they are always in chinta. Chinta, chinta, chinta. Always in tension. Why? Pralayantam upashrita. Till the time of death, they are always in chinta. Right? In Hindi, chinta karte 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 chita pe chad jate. What is the difference between chinta and chita? One dot, that's all. But the difference is, chita burns you once, but chinta keeps burning you all the time. Har kshan dukh deta hai. So that is chinta. And chita burns you once. So which is better? Some people prefer chita than chinta. So these materialistic people, they are always in chinta. Why? Kama upabhoga parama etavad eva nishchita. I want to enjoy. They are always looking for this. And if they don't get enjoyment, they are in anxiety. So this kind of material hankering they have, which is called chinta. Why they have this greed? It kama upabhoga parama. This refers to actually desires for enjoying. Why they have these desires for enjoying? Asha pasha shatair baddha. Asha means desires, and asha is referred to pasha. They catch one and they trouble him. Right? Somebody who has materialistic desires, demonic desires, they are always in trouble. They are always bound by that pasha. That's called asha pasha. Desires are not condemned, but bad desires are condemned. One should try to avoid bad desires. Good desires are good, but bad desires are compared to pasha. And how many bad desires are there? Shatai, hundreds of. Shata means 100. Baddha, Kama, Krodha, Parayana. And these people are always angry and lusty. Kama and Krodha, Parayana. Ihante ko Kama Bhogartham. And to fulfill their desires, what they do? Anyayena Artha Sanchayan. Anyaya means illegal means, shortcuts. Anyayena Artha Sanchayan. Artha means wealth. So they try to get wealth by illegal means for fulfilling their desires. So this Krishna is explaining to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. This is demonic mentality. They are selfish. So to get their desires fulfilled, they enjoy. So they are asuras. So in the Puranas, there is one story which comes that some people went and asked Brahmaji, why Lord favors Devatas and Lord kills Asuras? And Brahmaji said, you want to know the reason? I'll show you. Call both of them for a party. I'll give them nice feast. Call both of them. So one side Devatas sat and another side Asuras sat. And nice banana leaves are put, big banana leaves. And many items are served on it. Right? Sweet items, sour items, rice items, katta items, tikka items, all the items are served. and plate was full. Both were excited. We want to eat now. But they were about to begin, and then Brahmaji said, "Stop. One condition is there." So what is the condition? 2 sticks will be tied to your hand, and you should eat it without bending your hand. Okay, that was the condition. Now, can anybody try it? Full plate is there, but you have to eat without. So Asuras thought, we are very intelligent, we know how to eat. No problem, we accept the challenge. So one Asura, he took a gulab jamun. He said, yes, very easy to eat. Then he threw it in the air, and he was catching like this from his mouth. Sometimes the gulab jamun is falling in the eye, sometimes in the mouth. By chance it will fall in the mouth sometimes. Gulab jamun is okay, but what about the sambar? How will you throw it? So they had great difficulty. And in the side of Asuras there was big chaos. And the food was getting spilled everywhere. So and then people are observing this. And then Brahmaji said, look at the Devatas, what they are doing. And he looked at the Devatas, and Devata said, anyway we are sitting in front of each other. So I'll take from your plate and feed you. You take from my plate and feed me. So they are eating nicely. There is no chaos. They are cooperating with each other. But Asuras are cooperating with each other. This is my plate, I will only eat some or the other. I will not share it with others. But Devatas, they were willing to share with others. So this is the difference between demons and Devatas. So demons, they are greedy. They don't want to share with others. So that's why they are called as demons. Asha pasha shatervada anyayena artha sanchayan. So these are demonic qualities. And this is called corruption. Anyayena artha sanchayan. अधर्म करके जो पैसे कमाते हैं उसको करप्शन बोलते हैं. So now you can analyze whatever we discussed in these 4 levels. Corruption is caused by greed. Greed is caused by material outlook, because matter is all that matters. And material outlook is because of lack of education, spiritual education. And nowadays there is godless education. There is no concept of God being taught to the students. Right? So first 3 are very easy to understand. Corruption is caused by greed, and greed is caused by mentality that matter is all that matters. But from spiritual point of view, Bhagavad Gita explains that matter is not all that matters. There are other things which matter more than the matter. What is that? What is that which matters the most? Bhakti, Jnana, Shraddha. Okay, very nice. I'm looking for one word.
Energy or
Spirit. Spirit is what matters. Okay, matter is not all that matters. So this spiritual outlook has to be developed. So once you develop this spiritual outlook, you understand matter is not all that matters. There is something which matters more than matter, which is spirit. So Bhagavad Gita analyzes that we are not material personalities, we are spiritual personalities in a material body. Right? Like all of you are staying in a home or a hostel room. Do you say, I am the hostel? I am this home? We say, I am the resident of this home. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita explains the concept that I am not this body, but I am the resident of this body. Resident in the body. And that resident is called as soul or Atma. So Krishna explains this very beautiful concept by explaining the analogy of a dress. Right? Like we wear dress, and every day we change the dress. Sometimes we wear red dress, sometimes blue dress, sometimes green dress or yellow dress. Dress keeps changing. But do we change? Does the personality change? No. I remain the same. But similarly, the body is also a dress. Like sometimes people wear shirt and inside they wear a banyan. They may change the shirt, but banyan is. And when they come home, they may wear some kurta. When they go to office, they may wear a suit. Right? But in inner wear, they may not change. Similarly, the body is also a dress. The body changes when we die. And there are different kinds of bodies a person may have. One can have a human body, One can have an animal body, one can have a tree body, bird body, aquatic body. So the body changes. But the resident of the body doesn't change. The resident of the body is Atma. Right? So Atma is same. Sometimes he is in animal body, sometimes he is in human body. And after he dies, he may go to another body. Right? That is all governed by law of karma. Right? Whatever actions you do, you get the reaction for that. That's called law of karma. Right? Every action has got an equal and opposite reaction. So that's called law of karma. Right? Similarly, that is laws of motion. Like if you throw a ball, it bounces back. That's action, then there is reaction. Similarly, in this world also, there is action and reaction principle which works. If you do good, you get good. If you do bad, then you get bad. So this action and reaction principle has to be taught. If somebody is doing corruption, that is an action. So will he not get reaction? Right? So people who do corruption, they earn a lot of money, but within a moment, everything can be taken away also. Which happens with some people who are caught. Once a politician has got all the money is government's money, it's gone. People might take shortcuts, but the shortcuts they have to pay a heavy price. Isn't it? So shortcuts are not shortcuts actually. They have to pay the heavy price of going into the jail also, or sometimes a death penalty. So this greed is not good. So because of material outlook arising from godless education, this is happening. So one has to be taught. Spiritual education means what? Matter is not all that matters. Spirit, soul is there. We cannot be satisfied by material things. We can be satisfied only when we satisfy the soul. Right? So things cannot give happiness to the soul. So there is a lady, she had a parrot. And she had put the parrot in a nice golden cage. And every day she will come and polish the cage. And the cage was shining. But after a few days she saw that the parrot is not moving. Then she realized the parrot is dead. Why the parrot died? Because she was not feeding the parrot. She was taking care of the cage but not the parrot. Similarly, people take care of the body but not the soul. So then what happens? Body is shining but the soul is suffering. There is a lot of tension, anxiety, right? Because of not feeding the soul. So that's why Bhagavad Gita explains that instead of trying to get more material possessions and trying to be satisfied, try to satisfy the soul, then you will be not greedy, you will not want money. And so of course money is needed to take care of the body, but one should not be greedy. So that's the problem. So then the corruption can be solved. And we also have to develop sense of understanding that there is sufficient for everybody. Generally greed comes or selfishness comes when we think that there is shortage. No, there is no shortage, there is abundance. Then why do we talk about food shortage or water shortage? The shortage is because of mismanagement. And Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, he had gone to Africa. He was called for a lecture, and when he went to the stage, there were thousands of people sitting. He begins the lecture by telling, I have travelled your country, many places, but I see everywhere they are growing tobacco. I request that you stop growing this tobacco and start growing grains, there will be no shortage. Why do you have to grow such a substance which people chew and spit it? What is the use of growing a substance which you have to chew and spit it, which is not useful, and it causes cancer? People see tobacco causes cancer on the cigarette packet, but still they eat. What is the use of growing such thing? Grow nice fruits, grains, and there will be no shortage. That's what Prabhupada said. It is due to mismanagement of land. So much areca nut, so much of coffee, so much of this and that. Why? It's not required. If you grow grains sufficiently, then there will be no food shortage. It's because of mismanagement. So you have to develop this spiritual vision. So then this corruption can be avoided. So I saw a hand raising. Was there any question? Can you give some mic to him? If you have any question, you can raise your hand. Then once I finish the point, then I'll get you. Yeah.
Yeah, actually there are like XYZ politicians, right? They make a lot of money, and at the end of the day, they either escape somehow or the other. But if a common man tries to make any mistake, right, he is caught and he will be punished eventually. So where does karma plays in this role?
Okay.
Like politicians, they just fly away to other country or industrialist, but when a common man does, he is locked up for the jail for a long period.
Okay. Very relevant question. Right. Where is the law of karma acting in this case? He is sinful, and whole world knows that he is corrupt, but still he is enjoying. Right? Somebody may have big bungalow and enjoying in Rolls Royce cars and everything. Where is law of karma acting? Right? So the judiciary may fail here, but there is higher judiciary. Right? There is a high court, highest court, where nobody can escape. Right? Somebody may escape the laws of this world or laws of this country, but there is another law which cannot be escaped, which is called the law of karma, which is governed or which is taken care by a personality called Yama. So there are reactions which will come for that also, and we may not see it right now, and eventually it will come. And when it comes and how it will come, that we don't know, but it will come, because he has done an action and he is supposed to get that reaction. When and how it will come, we don't know, and it may come in the next life also. I think in one of the previous Prerana programs I had taken on destiny, I had showed many videos of instant karma and delayed karma. Right? Instant karma is, one person is putting some hot rod on a horse and horse kicks him instantly. And there are some delayed karmas. You do some action now and you get the reaction after many days. Right? Like suppose you eat some spoiled food. Maybe after 2 days you may have a stomach upset. Isn't it? Or you get some infection. Maybe after a month you may see the symptoms. So there is delayed thing. So similarly, for this action they may get a delayed reaction in the future. It may come before he dies or it may come after he dies. And the reaction which may come after he dies, maybe he may become a beggar in the next life. And because he has done so much of corruption and he is supposed to have no money in his next life, so he will be born a beggar or a poor fellow. So that reaction will come. So that's why this important question comes, that why bad things happen to good people and why good things happen to bad people. And sometimes we see that a person is bad but still is enjoying. Means he is enjoying previous punya which he has done in the past, and the suffering for the papa he is doing now will come in the future. And some people are good but they are suffering now. Means they are suffering the reactions of past papa, and whatever good they are doing now, that reaction will come in the future. So good things will happen in the future. So law of karma is perfect, but it is very difficult to see it, how it is functioning. Does that clarify your question? So the reaction will come sometime or the other. Okay. Should we go ahead? So in summary, what is the root cause of corruption? The concept that material things can give me happiness. So that is the thing. And what is the solution? Real happiness comes by enriching my spiritual credits. Right? So now the question may come that is punishment for corruption required or not? The laws of karma are acting, anyway he will be punished, but is punishment visibly required for somebody? That may come. So let's see. So there is something called as Lokapal, then right, who are hunting for corrupt people and they will punish them. So such punishment is also good, because if you punish one person, all others will get an idea. Hey, I should not do such sinful activity. I should be a very nice person. Otherwise, I'll also get. If one corrupt person is put in the jail and is punished with heavy fine, then all others will get a lesson. There will be fear. So that Lokapala creates fear. So, but that is not sufficient. Because a time will come when you will feel nobody is watching me. Nobody can catch me. Then he will do corruption. So ordinary morality is not good. Is not sufficient actually. A person will be moral as long as there is vigilance. Once the vigilance is taken off, then he will show his color, because greed is inside the heart. Right? One will not act greedily because of local ajja. Right? As long as CCTV is there, children will all nicely behave in the schools. But if CCTV is, when they know CCTV is off, then they will do whatever they want. There will be commotion. Right? So that Lokapala or governance or fear is necessary to keep law and order. But that is not sufficient. That will not solve the problem. Because when the opportunity is there, he will commit sin. So that's why one should take care of Gopala, Krishna. Now Gopala is Krishna because he takes care of cows. Go means cow and Pala means caretaker. Gopala is another meaning also. Go means our indriyas, senses. So the senses generally have a tendency to do wrong things. Eyes want to see something wrong, ears want to hear something wrong, tongue wants to taste something wrong, like that. So that is not sufficient. Unless we control these senses by surrendering to God, by engaging them in the service of the Lord, then only we can solve these problems. One should become such a person of high character that even when nobody is watching, he will follow the right principles. Right? Character means what? What a person does when nobody is watching him. That's called character. So a person should become such high character. Then there will be no problem. So especially the leaders should develop such character. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yadyadajardi shreshthas tattadeve tarojana sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. If the top man is corrupt, you will see all the people will be corrupt. If the top man is of high quality, you will see all the people down will be of high quality. I'll give one example here. Chanakya and Chandragupta. Chandragupta was a very ordinary person. But Chanakya saw some talent in him and he found it and made him very great. To such a degree that he became the king. Once one Chinese person came and he came to the country of Chandragupta and he saw that everything is being so well managed. He said, I want to meet the king. He came to meet the king and then, yeah, such wonderful governance you are doing. What is the secret? And Chandragupta said, I am being guided by my mentor. He said, who is your mentor? If the country is so nice, you are so wonderful, how wonderful your mentor must be. I want to meet your mentor. So then he said, you go into the jungle, you will find him there in a kutir. Is it? Okay. So the Chinese fellow went into the jungle and he saw one kutir there and he went inside and Chanakya Pandit was writing something. Then he waited for him to finish and after Chanakya finished, he was having a lantern and he switched off that lantern and lit a candle. So then he said, okay, what's the matter? So I can talk to you now. So then the Chinese person said, I have a question. Why the lantern gives better light than candle? Why did you switch it off? He said, oh, I was doing some official work, I was writing. So that's why I was using the lantern given by the king. And now in this personal talk, so I am using this candle which is given as charity to me by some others. So let's talk. Then this person got a lesson. This person is of high character. He is so careful, so sensitive. Because he is of such high character, Chandragupta is of such high quality character. And all the country is running nicely. So this is the solution, that we should become people of high character, especially devotees who are spiritualists. If one develops such high character, then all the people will follow. Right? And then everybody will be very prosperous and non-corrupt. Right? Continuing the same theme, there was one king called Parikshit Maharaj. He is the grandson of Arjuna. Arjuna's son is Abhimanyu, Abhimanyu's son is Parikshit Maharaj. So once he saw one man dressed like a king, but he was beating cow and a bull. And this cow and bull were in great pain. And Parikshit Maharaj became so angry. Cow is my mother because I drink the milk of the cow. And bull is like father because bull works on the ground and gives me grains. So that's why I should protect the cow and bull. So this person is harming. So immediately took his sword and was about to chop off his head. So instant punishment he was giving. Why? Because if he punishes one person, then all others will understand, oh, cow and bull should be protected, they should not be harmed. But unfortunately in this modern age we see cows and bulls are troubled and they are sent to slaughterhouses. So much of problem. So Parikshit Maharaj was so strict. But this person, his name is Kali. Kali begged at his feet and said, please forgive me. Give me some other place to stay. And Parikshit said, okay, you go and stay in a place where these four things are happening. People are eating meat, people are gambling, they are having illicit sexual relationships, and people are intoxicated, drinking. Wherever you find such place, you can stay there. Kali went and searched all kingdom. He did not find one place also where these four things are happening. These four things are the pillars of sin. Paap ke pillar hai. So these four things should be avoided. And in Parikshit Maharaj's kingdom, he was so strict that nobody got a chance to do these four things. And that's why Parikshit Maharaj's country was supposed to be so prosperous. It is said that so much of milk and butter was there that people used to pay with butter. No? You see Krishna Leela, so much of butter that they'll throw on each other. Opulence. And it is said that cows had so much of milk that when cows are walking, milk will fall and it will become milk kichad. So much opulence. And land will give grains without tilling, without doing agriculture. Still they will give grains and fruits and vegetables, so much. And the mountains will give nice minerals or metals. And the ocean will give navaratnas. So much of opulence was there. So we will see that people in that age, 5000 years back, they will eat in golden plates. You heard of it? And then they started eating in copper plates. Right? Even few decades ago, people used to eat in copper plates only, not in stainless steel. And then copper plates also went, now stainless steel. Now that's also going. Paper plates. That's also going. Plastic plates. Right? See the degradation. If you align yourself in line with God, then there will be prosperity. If you deviate from God, then there will be scarcity. Right? So there's a lesson we learn from this. Right? So till now we have discussed only one. Right? What we discussed? The problem was there, corruption. What is the effect of corruption? So much of poverty and deprivation. And what is the root cause? Greed. Why that greed is caused? Because of material outlook. And why material outlook? Because of lack of spiritual education and lack of spiritual understanding. So that's what we discussed till now. Same thing you can apply for all things. Social problems, right? Cultural problems. Social problems, let's see. Sexual assaults, poverty. So, right? Now gravity of the problem. In America, I'll go just tell you the problem and then solution. Like that we'll see for others. In America, the three most popular games are basketball, baseball, football. And generally they are considered, sportsmen are considered to be very rich. But all the three revenues combined together, the porn industry revenue is the greatest. So much of money it is making. You can understand the gravity of this problem. In America, one rape is happening every minute. And now in India also we hear so much of child abuse cases. And it also has adverse effect on children. Let's see one case study. Who is this fellow? Ravana. Right? He is kidnapping Sita, trying to assault and carrying away. Right? Because Ravana was lusting. and all of you know the story, right? How he sent Maricha, the deer, and he wanted to enjoy Sita because he had heard the description of Sita from Shurpanaka. Shurpanaka, actually Ravana did not want to fight with Rama because when Khara and Dushan were killed, Akampana, one fellow, he was saved. He came and told Ravana that your army has been killed, do something. And Ravana goes to Maricha and says, Maricha, come with me, we want to fight with Ram. Maricha says, Ram, please don't do this. I have experience with Ram. Once he shot an arrow and I was thrown 800 miles away. I don't want to encounter him. Please, you also don't do it. Ravana went back. Then Shurpanaka came and Shurpanaka said, Bhaiya, देखो मेरा नाक कट गया, कान कट गया. Please take revenge against Ram. And you know, there is a secret. Sita is very beautiful, and he described the beauty of Sita and said, she is meant for you only. You should go and enjoy Sita. And again he went to Marich and said, Marich, you have two choices. Either you die from my hand or you die from Ram's hand. Choose. You have to do this. You have to become a deer and divert Ram. Then Marich said, better to die from Ram. आपके हाथ से मरूंगा तो नरक ही जाऊंगा. Better die from Ram. At least I'll get purified. Then he went, and then Ravana came in disguise of a sadhu and kidnapped Sita. You'll see down the photo that she's coming in disguise and kidnapping Sita. This is because Ravana represents lust, kama. Right? So sexual assaults are due to lust, which is due to mode of passion. Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajo Guna Samudbhava, because of passion. And again, it's due to desire to enjoy matter. What is the solution? First thing is stop exposure to all lusty things like billboards or internet and such things. Stop exposure to dirty things. And then with philosophically understand that this attraction, this desire is a perversion of our desire, original love for Krishna, and direct our love towards Krishna. When love is there, that becomes perverted as lust. We want to love Krishna, but when we come to this world, it becomes prema becomes kama. We have to love Krishna. Loving tendency is there, we cannot give it up. But don't get attracted to the flesh and bones. What is the beauty? Beauty is nothing but flesh and bones. But flesh and bones are nicely covered by few millimeters of skin. That attracts beautiful. That becomes beautiful. But if you remove one layer of skin, there is no beauty. So the beauty is skin deep. So Bhagavad Gita says that don't get attracted to this skin deep beauty, get attracted to the real beauty of the soul. Soul is really beautiful. Because we are all part and parcel of God, soul is part and parcel of God, that love is there for each other. Because love is originally there with Krishna. So if you love Krishna, you will love everybody. So that's a solution. Right? So like this we can discuss for all. But I'll just mention some and then we'll have Kirtan for some time. Psychological problems like stress, phobia, addiction is there. So what is the solution? Meditation. If you do meditation, then we can overcome these problems. And it is even scientifically proven, but by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, mind becomes free from all stress and one becomes very calm and composed. Then is ecological problem, global warming. You see here, one side there is industry emitting smoke, other side there is trees. Right? Instead of creating such factories, if we create jungles and gardens, then we can avoid so much of pollution. Now there is a talk at the global level that glaciers are melting and sea level will rise and irregular rains, all these are happening. It's a problem, it affects everybody. And even the ozone layer is getting depleted and UV rays are coming and harming us. So one should lead a ecologically friendly lifestyle, not become artificial. Right? One can lead a very natural lifestyle with natural commodities and avoid using harmful substances like plastics. One can reduce using metal things, reuse them as much as possible and recycle them. Right? Next is economic problem, lack of self-sufficiency, industrialization, and even you can say jobs and other things. Because nowadays, lot of jobs are dependent on industry, factories or IT and such things. But ultimately, we cannot eat nuts and bolts, nor can we eat softwares, nor can we eat hardwares. We need grains, fruits for survival, and that comes from land. So if people try to satisfy their needs based on simplifying one's lifestyle by living on land, cows and grains like that, then one can avoid this problem. The next level problem is medical problems, diseases, epidemics, which is very relevant now, right? So there are diseases which are spreading, but every year new diseases come. Nobody had heard of AIDS, nobody had heard of Ebola, nobody had heard of chikungunya, swine flu, so many others things, and even now Corona. Where was Corona? It's coming now. Why? Because it's coming from animals to humans, and the root cause of disease is past sin. Some sin one has committed in the past, then that reaction comes. And if a group of people have committed a common sin, then that reaction also comes in common. Then earthquakes come where many people die, or tsunamis come where many people die, or many people get affected by the epidemic. And the biggest epidemic till now was I think plague, which came in Europe. I'm just going through Wikipedia. If you go to Wikipedia, search epidemic, you'll find that most of the epidemics came in Europe, Britain, that area, and very few in India. And what are the epidemics in India? Cholera. That was the epidemic which happened 1 century ago. And in Britain and Europe, you will see so many, big list is there. So you can see that where people lead a very natural spiritual lifestyle, problems are less. In India, you will see problems are less, climatic problems are less. But in US, more. Every year something will come. Right? Hurricanes will come, Rita, Katrina, every year some new name comes and destroys whole. People don't speak about those things. People think I want to go to America and enjoy. But no, there are so many problems there also. Right? So, even now you will see the epidemic spreading. Why? Because there is some root cause for that, some sin which is involved. If you reduce those sinful reactions, then you will see the problem is reduced. How to reduce sinful reactions? By taking shelter of God. It is said by chanting the holy names of the Lord and surrendering to God, Papa Kshaya. Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishyami Masuja. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. You surrender to God, right, and chant His holy names, then the sinful reactions reduce. And when the sinful reactions reduce, the impact of the problems also reduces. If somebody is supposed to break his leg in an accident, but if he becomes a devotee, then he may have an accident, but he may just escape with a scratch. Because the sinful reaction will become reduced and a token punishment may be given. So that's a benediction. But warning is also there. Again, one should not commit the same sinful activities again. Right? One should stop if sin is like running fan, you should switch off the fan. It will run for some time, some reactions will come, but eventually it will stop. So reactions will come in reduced intensity. Right? So that's how we can avoid. Right? Even if you put mask, even if you put all hand cleaners, everything, still there is no guarantee that you can escape virus or bacteria. Some reactions will come. Right? So main thing is one should take shelter of Krishna. Right? And the last one is religious problems. Communal violence and all, they happen because of lack of understanding of what is religion. They think somebody with a topi is Muslim, somebody with a tilak is Hindu, somebody born in this country is of this religion, this family is this religion. These are all bodily identifications. And then they fight with each other, Hindu-Muslim fight or Christians fight or this fight. These are all very superficial. So Srila Prabhupada solved this problem with one statement. If you want universal brotherhood is possible only when you have universal father, one father. If you accept that father and you accept that everybody is children of God, then you will have brotherhood. So accept that there is one father. You may call him Krishna, you may call him Ram, some others call him Allah, somebody calls him Christ. Like you have one son. How many names are there for son? Surya, Dinesha, Dinakara, Ravi, Bhaskara. So many are there. So it's one item but so many names. Similarly, one God but different names. So accept that there is one Lord and then everybody is children of God, then these communal things can be easily solved. Right? So this is how we can solve. Because we can discuss more in detail, and if you are more interested, you can attend our weekly programs which happens here on Saturday evening. You can give your names at the registration counter and they will inform you about the next sessions, and we can discuss more on these topics at that time. And especially in Kali Yuga, it is said that by chanting of the names of the Lord, one can quickly attain the Lord. And there are many mantras, but in Kali Santrado Manishad, like there are many medicines for a particular disease, but doctor according to your nature he will prescribe a particular medicine. Similarly, there are many mantras, but in Kali Yuga this mantra is prescribed, which is called Hare Krishna mantra. Can everybody repeat after me? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nata Partaropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. It is said that the 16 word mantra, if chanted, can destroy all the ill effects of Kali Yuga. Right? So we catch some infection, then we get affected. Similarly, if we chant this mantra, then it nullifies the effects of Kali Yuga. It nullifies the infections. So it's like an antivirus which can clean the mind of greed, lust, envy, pride, illusion, and all these things can be cleaned by chanting this mantra, and one can become very pure and well cultured. And not only that, by chanting this mantra, it can have a global effect also. It's practically proven that by chanting mantras, the consciousness of the people gets elevated and even the ether becomes purified. And if somebody speaks negative vibrations, it affects the people negatively. If you speak positive, it affects the people positively. And if you speak spiritual, then it affects the people spiritually, not only in locality but globally. So that's why a few years back we had one marathon, one event called Chant for Peace. All over the world, devotees, wherever they were, they came together and they were chanting for global peace. And it is also very essential that we come together and pray. And when we collectively pray, then Lord hears it very quickly. So that's why we'll chant now this mantra led by Radharaman Prabhu. He will lead the chanting, and I request all of you to participate in this chanting. So the mantra will be displayed here. You can look at it and sing behind him, and we'll offer this kirtan for all the people who are affected by this disease, and we pray for them that Krishna willing their life becomes more easy and happy, and they can overcome this problem or become free from this problem. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. We will end our session here, and we'll do some kirtan for about 15 minutes, and then we'll have prasadam. Hare Krishna. If anybody has any question, and we can discuss after the kirtan personally.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.